I had to start again. Luckily I just started. I was trying to look at the Greek, but it's on my screen and I accidentally closed the recording. But good afternoon, good evening. So Protagoras, day 2. Tell me then, what do you think a sophist is? Socrates asks the young man who's walking around on the plain with him, as they are about to go to Protagoras. I suppose, as the name implies, one who has knowledge of wise things. One could say the same, said I, of painters and builders, for they are those who have knowledge of wise things. But if we ask what sort of wisdom painters understand, we should reply, wisdom concerned with the making of likenesses, and so on with the others. So he uses Sophos, Sophia, the Sophia idea, yeah, but he also uses episteme, but I think that's more to painters understand what sort of wisdom. If then we were asked what sort of wise things the sophist has knowledge of, so that have knowledge of is episteme, what should we answer? Of what is he the master? Oh, now I want to look at master again, but never mind. Maybe if I just closed it. I'm in D. Okay, that's cool. Made it close more. No, I'm not gonna find it. With the risk of shutting it off. Without the risk of shutting it off. Where are we? The only answer we could give is that he is master of the art of making clever speakers. Well, our answer might be true, but it would hardly be sufficient if it invites a further question. On what matter does the sophist make one a clever speaker? For example, the teacher of the lyre playing, I suppose, makes people clever at speaking on his own subject, namely lyre playing, doesn't he? Yes. Well, on what subject does the sophist make clever speakers? Obviously on the subject of which he imparts knowledge. Very probably. And what is the subject on which the sophist is both an expert himself and can make his pupil an expert? I give up, he said. I can't tell you. Well then, I continued, do you realize the sort of danger to which you are going to expose your soul? He doesn't know what he's going to learn. Well, quite honestly, how many of us really do know what we're getting ourselves into when we enroll for a study? And if you truly do study, you do expose your soul to knowledge. If you learn by loving, know by loving, know by becoming, and you do really expose your soul to whatever it is you expose your mind to. If it were a case of putting your body into the hands of someone and risking the treatments turning out beneficial or the reverse, you would ponder deeply whether to entrust it to him or not, and would spend many days over the questions, calling on the counsel of your friends and relations. But when it comes to something which you value more highly than your body, namely your soul, something on whose beneficial or harmful treatment your whole welfare depends, you have not consulted either your father or your brother or any of us who are your friends on the question whether or not to entrust your soul to this stranger who has arrived among us. On the contrary, having heard the news in the evening, so you tell me, here you come at dawn, not to discuss or consult me on the question of whether or not to entrust yourself to Protagoras, but ready to spend both your own money and that of your friends, as if you had already made up your mind that you must at all costs associate with this man, whom you say you do not know and have never spoken to, but call a sophist, and then turn out not to know what a sophist is, though you intend to put yourself into his hands. So I'm reading Augustine, his Confessions. I read The City of God a long time ago, and that was before I was into Neoplatonism. So I found it quite excruciating. Also, actually, the Confessions. It's so life-denying, I always feel. There's so many life-denying religions around. And but he talks somewhere of loving someone purely for their reputation, because you heard other people love them and have high regard for them. So then you also have high regard for them. It sounds like this is what this young man is doing. What is this man's? Oh, just friend. It's just identified as friend. Oh, maybe it's Plato. When he heard this, he said, "It looks like it, Socrates, from what you say." Can we say then... Oh no. His name is Hippocrates. He now there he mentions his name. When Plato mentions his name, he just calls him friend. Oh no, it's another friend that Socrates is talking to in the beginning. And then Socrates tells the story of how Hippocrates came to his home. Now I remember, because he's talking of his namesake as well. When we heard that, he looked at Socrates. Can we say then, Hippocrates, that a sophist is really a merchant or peddler of the goods by which a soul is nourished? To me, he appears to be something like that. That's not bad. Well, I am still not convinced that the people going around today preaching, or what they call teaching, are not sophists. A peddler of the goods by which a soul is nourished. That sounds very much what some of them are doing. But what is it that nourishes a soul? There's a young man, I think, who asks us. What it learns, presumably, I said. And we must see that the sophist, in commending his wares, does not deceive us like the wholesaler and the retailer who deal in food for the body. These people do not know themselves which of the wares they offer is good or bad for the body, but in selling them praise all alike. And those who buy from them don't know either, unless one of them happens to be a trainer or a doctor. So too those who take the various subjects of knowledge from city to city and offer them for sale or retail to whoever wants them, commend everything that they have for sale. But it may be, my dear Hippocrates, that some of these men also are ignorant of the beneficial or harmful effects on the soul of what they have for sale. And so too are those who buy from them, unless one of them happens to be a physician of the soul. If then you chance to be an expert in discerning which of them is good or bad, it is safe for you to buy knowledge from Protagoras or anyone else. But if not, take care you don't find yourself gambling dangerously with all of you that is dearest to you. It's so relevant today. There is so much knowledge on offer. Also fake knowledge. What do you consume? Indeed, the risk you run in purchasing knowledge is much greater than that in buying provisions. When you buy food and drink, you can carry it away from the shop or warehouse in a receptacle. And before you receive it into your body by eating or drinking, you can store it away at home and take the advice of an expert as to what you should eat and drink and what not, and how much you should consume and when. So there is not much risk in the actual purchase. But knowledge cannot be taken away in a parcel. No shit, Sherlock. And I don't mean that like disrespectful. I mean, it's really actually a powerful thing that he says. Once you've learned something, you really cannot unlearn it. And that is often, well, positively seen, that's the end of illusions. Negatively seen, that's the end of, let's say, naive faith. When you have paid for it, you must receive it straight into the soul. You go away having learned it and are benefited or harmed accordingly. So I suggest we give this matter some thought, not only by ourselves, but also with those who are older than we, for we are still rather young to examine such a large problem. So this is early in Socrates' life. However, let us carry out our plan to go and hear the man. And when we have heard him, we can bring others into our consultations also. So, interesting what he wants to do, because hearing him is also gaining knowledge. This young man came to Socrates saying that he was still a child last when Protagoras was in the city. Socrates was already old enough then to know him, so Socrates is a bit older than the other one. For Protagoras is not here by himself. There is Hippias of Elis, and I think Prodicus of Chios too, and many other wise men. Okay, I don't feel like reading anymore. My voice is weird. Have a good evening.